Good morning, y'all. Okay, so happy Monday morning. I still don't have paint on my cabinets. I don't even have them all primed, but I have been working. I promise I've been working so hard on this closet. It's taking longer than I thought, but I did build the whole thing from scratch. So I've kind of got to give myself a break. You know, this is my biggest build that I've ever done. I built everything from scratch with my own two hands. And so I'm trying to be gentle with myself and not beat myself up for not doing this faster. Anyway, I had to spend my weekend redoing some things that I had already done, which of course that's never fun, but I'll explain to you why I had to do that. So let me flip my camera around, show you what I've gotten done, and also get you caught up, because while I did post on my blog about the final paint color that I selected, I don't think I've shown y'all on video, so let me do all of that. Okay, so let me start with the fun stuff. I tested out 6 new blues. Okay, you'll remember the last time I showed you I had tested out some coral paint colors, and after comparing the two, I just decided I really like the blue. That's my favorite. So I went to Sherwin-Williams and I got 6 new blues, and my choice is this one right here. It's called Billowy Breeze. Anyway, it has just a little touch of green in it, and I've already taken my wallpaper down, but it looks beautiful with the wallpaper. So that is the color that I'm going with for my cabinets, and I'm very excited to have finally made that choice. I tell you, I had such a hard time choosing a paint color, but I finally realized that Sherwin-Williams is the best. I'm just gonna go to Sherwin-Williams from now on to choose colors, because they really do have such an amazing selection. Okay, anyway, this weekend I spent a lot of time redoing something that I had already done. I had originally intended for these 2 cabinets right here to have doors on them, and I had planned for them to be inset doors, which means that when I installed these original shelves, I had them back, I had them back about here so that the doors could be inset right here. Well, last week I decided I really like the way that everything looks with all open shelves. I just think that that looks more cohesive, and I did not want to ruin the look by adding cabinet doors to these 2 cabinets. So I'm just gonna use baskets. If I wanna, if I wanna hide anything, I'll just use baskets to store them. And eventually we are turning that bathroom into, how do you like my bruise? We'll turn that bathroom into a storage room. So really my need for closed cabinet storage in here, I don't really have the need for that. And also, don't forget, I'm gonna have a big island here in the middle that'll have a lot of drawers in it. So that will be my needed closed storage for the room. Anyway, with all of that said, since I was gonna leave these open, I needed them to look just like the rest of the shelves, where this trim is flush with this. And on those, the trim was set back about 1 inch. And so I thought that maybe I could just add a little, like basically take this piece off, add a little plywood extension to the front, and then re-add that piece. But I changed my mind. I just decided it would look better and look, I don't know, I would take the chance of that kind of looking like an afterthought or looking like a mistake that had to be corrected. And I did not want that. So I ended up just removing all of those shelves, 10 shelves, recutting the plywood. And then I had to do all the sanding and the wood filling and the sanding, because remember, I used a lesser grade plywood to save a lot of money. So I had to do all the wood filling and the sanding on those shelves, and then get those installed, and then cut new pieces for the front trim. But at least now these are sitting flush. These pieces are sitting flush with this. and it matches the rest. I also got this little shelf down here installed. So I have one more shelf that I need to build, and that's the one that goes here. This is going to be wallpaper above. So I still have to build this shelf, but that's going to be my glass top shelf that I'm going to have the little drawer underneath where my earrings and rings are stored. So it'll have a glass top, which means it's just going to need framing around the front and then the front trim piece, just like that. But I don't have my glass in hand yet. I had to order 1/4 inch tempered glass for that shelf, and it'll be here tomorrow. So I really don't want to do any building of that until I have that glass in hand, because it's going to have to be customized in order to fit the glass. And I sure hope that I did my measurements right on the glass. But anyway, that'll be here tomorrow, and then I can finally get that final framing in for that last shelf. And that'll be the final shelf for the whole room. And then on this other side, I decided to go ahead and add a shelf here, because these are the two sections where I'll have hanging bars for shirts. And I decided that I wanted to go ahead and add a shelf between those two sections. So I did that also. And one thing, that particular piece of plywood, I was running low on plywood. I used every last bit of plywood that I had to redo these shelves and everything. So I got to this last shelf. I had one piece of plywood left. One strip of plywood left. And that shelf had a bow in it. Okay, so some of the other shelves, when I installed them, it had a slight bow to it. But once I added that front trim, I was able to kind of push the plywood down a little bit and nail that trim to it, and it flattened out. This one did not. This one was just very stubborn. So what I ended up doing is putting these weights on it overnight. It's 45 pounds of weight. So I put it right in the middle, and it took care of most of it. I think if you look too closely, you'll still see that it's bowed just a little bit, but I am not buying more plywood. I'm just not. And so I'm just gonna have to live with that. But I think once everything is caulked and painted all the same color, it will not be noticeable. But it really did fix at least the front edge. It really did take that bow out, just putting 45 pounds of weight on it overnight. So anyway, this is the progress. Let me get back here and I'll show you a look at the whole thing. So there is that. And then here is this wall. So it's coming along, and while I had hoped to have paint on these by now, it just didn't work out. But again, I'm trying not to be too hard on myself. I mean, after all, I have built all of this, every single bit of this from scratch. Oh my goodness. I hate realizing I forgot to put that trim piece on up there. Okay, so I still have to do that. That's no big deal. So anyway, okay, that's the progress.